Hey guys, today we're going to be moving on to our last unit. We're going to go over some quick examples of quadratic equations. In particular, we're not actually going to be able to graph these, sadly, because our year is wrapping up, but we're going to go over how to use one of these kinds of equations to make a table. So we'll go over that. So in this example, we just have y equals x squared, and we have a table that has x values -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So this is the most basic quadratic equation. Remember, quadratic means that there's an x squared in it. So we are going to just fill out this table using this equation. So we have our x values. That means that we're just going to start with the first x value, which is -2 squared, y equals -2 squared. We're plugging that number. Remember, when we are solving for a table, we take the numbers from the table and substitute them into the x. So if x is -2, we have this. And that is, of course, equal to -2 times -2 is +4. So put a 4 there. The next number, y equals -1 squared. So -1 times -1, well, that's +1. So we're going to have a +1 there. Next one we get is y equals 0 squared. So that is, of course, going to give us 0. 0 times 0 is 0. You might see a trend here. Y equals 1 squared. 1 times 1 is 1, so we're going to keep that. And finally, y equals 2 squared. And so 2 squared is 4. Oh, so I got to put the 1 there and the 4 there. Now, something that I want you to pay attention to here, as we may notice, we have numbers. These are all positive. They don't always need to be positive, but these are all positive. And we notice how these go down and then come back up. We call this this point here is called a vertex point. That's because if you were to graph this, if we have a rough sketch, it would look something like this. It would look like a loop. And then on the bottom, there's this point at 0, 0, where things kind of come together. And that means that you will start to see some values repeat. So if you notice that, that means that you don't actually need to do all this work out. You can notice the pattern and notice that things are repeating, and then you can essentially just copy down other values from your table. So we'll do another example, and then you guys can get to work. So our other example, of course, we have to be a little bit more complicated, but our other example is going to be, there we go, -2x squared plus 12x minus 15. So this one is obviously going to take a little bit more room, but we're going to use the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's start with the number 1. So y equals -2 times 1 squared plus 12 times 1 minus 15. And so for that first value, 1 squared is, we have to do PEMDAS now that I substituted the 1 in for the x. PEMDAS first, so -2 times 1 squared is still 1, plus 12 times 1 is 12, minus 15. 2 times 1, or -2 times 1 is -2, plus 12 minus 15. So that is going to be equal to, so -2 plus 12 is 10, minus 15 is -5, -5. Next number. So we plug in 2. Y equals -2 times 2 squared plus 12 times 2 minus 15. And that, of course, is going to give us -2 times 4. 2 squared is 4, plus 24 minus 15. -2 times 4 is -8. So we have -8 plus 24 minus 15. And -8 plus 24 is 16. And then minus 15 is 1. All right, so 1 goes there. Next we have 3. So y equals -2 times 3 squared plus 12 times 3 minus 15. y equals negative 2 times 9 plus 36 minus 15. 12 times 3 is 36. Y equals negative 18 plus 36 minus 15. Negative 18 plus, gotta move this down. Negative 18 plus 36 is positive 18. Minus 15 would be 3. So 3 goes there. All right. Last one I'll do work on. So we'll do number 4 finally. We're running out of room. So y equals negative 2 times 4 plus 12 times 4 squared there minus 15. Negative 32 plus 48 minus 15. So squared the 16, multiply those together. So y equals negative 32 plus 48 is positive, excuse me, positive 16 minus 15 is 1. So again, we get 1. Now we're going to go back to that rule. If you remember, we now have numbers that go up and we start to see them go back down. So once I see this value turn around and once I see things start to repeat, you can see the ones repeat. That means my next number is going to be negative 5, because if these numbers are repeating, then the next thing, those numbers have to repeat. So I actually don't have to do work on the last one. So I'm not going to give you a whole lot of examples like this, but if you have any questions, I know this stuff is a little bit challenging. So if you have any questions, please come in and let me know if you have any questions. Bye-bye.